Authentic Experts with Kara James, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and relevant people on the planet. Hear their stories and get the most important business lessons they have learned on their road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their success into your life and business. Authentic Experts with Kara James is brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board and your host, Kara.
Hello, everyone. Kara James here from Authentic Experts Podcast. And I'm super excited about our guest today, Jenna Nelson. And she has quite a background here, and I'm excited to dive into it. So Jenna's a 15-year events industry professional responsible for having designed, planned, and executed over 500 events for companies of all sizes, including small, high-touch VIP events to trade shows for over 10,000. From this corporate event experience, Jenna discovered an indispensable skill for identifying creative and innovative marketing opportunities for entrepreneurs and businesses who are ready to take their brands to the next level. At Maverick Consulting, they believe that all businesses should be using events and event marketing to grow their business awareness, increase sales, and increase customer loyalty. And in her free time, Jenna operates a second business, Adeline's Playroom. And she's a mom of 4-year-old twins and loves to spend time at the lake. And she's in Nashville area. So excited to have you here, Jenna, and ready to, please.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Besides the 4-year-old twins that we just chuckled about, like there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Yes, it is. It is a wild ride around here every day, but it's fun.
Right. But it's so fun to have twins, though, you know.
It is. It really is.
Yeah. So
I'm an only child, so just like watching them interact together is so much fun for me because I never had that like sibling experience. So now I'm getting to kind of see it through their eyes. So I really love that.
Sure. And so special too with the being twins. Yeah.
Twins. Yes.
So tight. And
yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So tell us about your business and what you have going on. And you have a lot going on. So I want to hear more about that in your program.
Yeah.
So I want you to dive into your program too, because
Awesome.
it sounds amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So at Maverick Consulting, like I said, we really focus on distinctive assets that grow businesses. So think, outside of your normal social media marketing, email marketing. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, and you should absolutely be doing all of those too. And we support those as well from a brand strategy mindset. But there's so many businesses out there that do something so similar to what another business may do, or there's just a lot of competition and a lot of noise in the field. And so what we try to do is create distinctive assets for businesses that really set them apart, branded assets that when you look at that, you go, oh, I know that's that Facebook group that this business runs, for my industry, or I know that that's an event, a trade show that they hold every year for this type of company, and all of these contractors go to it every year, those types of things. So we really focus on assets that can just really set you apart, and that as you grow and as your business grows, really help develop the business as a thought leader and as an authority in the space. So that's always really important. It's, the good news and the bad news about the internet is that anybody can put anything out there that they want. And so it's hard to kind of separate the true experts from, maybe not so much of an expert. And so really proving that thought leadership and that authority is really important. And so through distinctive assets, we're really able to help businesses grow that way. So we do kind of everything from podcasts to branded Facebook groups, ebooks, physical books, things like that can really, help drive that brand awareness. But our favorite and what we do mostly are event programs. And there are, if you Google it, there are hundreds of event planners out there. You can find event management all over the country. That's easy. But what there isn't really in the market is there isn't anybody going to businesses and saying, let's talk about how we create events for your business that are going to help them grow. Most event management firms, clients are coming to them saying, oh, I want to hold this type of event. Great. They just execute it whatever, great. And maybe, that business has a strong strategic mind behind it and they've done the marketing research and that's great. And sometimes it works that way. But for a lot of businesses, and especially smaller businesses or startups, may not have a strategist or a marketing, even a director of marketing or anything that can kind of help align their business with what kind of events or event programs would drive their business forward. So, every business has a different reason to do an event. It can be, there are a lot of different reasons, but I think it generally falls into like three main buckets. The first is to just drive revenue, and whether that's through ticket sales, sponsorship, on-site sales, those are revenue generating events. And then there's brand awareness events. And maybe those are customer appreciation, just, things to get the brand and the name and the face out there, just so people start, having that positive association with them. And then there are events for lead generation, events that, bring in people so that you get their contact information or get to meet them face to face. And what I love about events is that this is such a great way for your brand to interact with your customers. Even if it is online, you're still providing that direct interaction with your company, with your brand, that is so different than them, scrolling through Instagram or something, or getting an email from you. It's just not the same touch point. So that's really what we set out to do. We set to look at, every individual business and say, all right, what are your goals? Where are you maybe lacking in marketing, or where is there a gap in your business? And let's try to see if we can create an event program that's going to help fill that, or help generate that revenue for you. And some of the pushback, that we get, I hear a lot, well, my business is too small, or I don't have a big enough budget for an event. And that's where I really come back to every type of business has an event that they can have that's going to make sense for their business. There are a million ways to eat into the production costs. You can get sponsors, you can share you can partner up, and maybe if you don't have a venue or a space to hold an event, but you've got a complementary business that does, great, partner up, use their space. And then you're also appealing to do different audiences at the same time, which is great. I love strategic partnerships. They're so great for building that visibility and bringing in, new ears and things like that. So there's always ways to eat into those costs. Sponsorship programs are great. Sometimes not only can you get all of your event costs covered with a sponsorship program, but you might even just make sponsorship revenue. So it's like a whole other stream of revenue for your business that people might not even be considering, because they want to capitalize on your brand and your audience and what you have to say. And that's great. So we get that pushback, and then we get the other pushback, for like digital businesses that don't have a brick and mortar, saying, okay, but, my people are all over the country. I'm entirely an online business. And, thanks to COVID, now we've got a million webinar options. Webinars are great lead generation funnels, great lead generation funnels. So webinar programs are great. You can do online communities and memberships and things like that, that either are a part of your business or are a complementary part of your business that just kind of feed the top of that funnel for you a little bit. So, I always just kind of encourage people to just step back and let us, let me talk, let me hear about your business. Let me kind of throw some ideas at you, because I think there are more opportunities than a lot of people realize in the event marketing spectrum. And even sometimes it's just attending events. Maybe it's exhibiting at a trade show. Maybe it's being one of those strategic partners or sponsors that we talked about. Maybe it's not your event, but maybe you're a sponsor. But I really think that developing an event program that aligns with your brand, speaks to your audience, and helps draw your customers in and create that loyalty is really such a game changer, especially for businesses that are really trying to take it, to that next level, that have kind of maxed out, at the social media level, at the email marketing level, that have okay, we've got a good system, everything's going, but we're not really building any more momentum. That's when I say now it's time to start looking at distinctive assets, for sure.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love this. I mean, like, this is amazing. Yeah. And then especially with the online, like you said, okay, you don't have to be, at first I was thinking in person, which we all want to do. I've never done it. Yes, I've just signed up, I'm doing retreats myself, but it doesn't have to be that way. You can still have something so lucrative online. And like you said, getting your brand out there and the visibility and cutting through all the noise.
Cutting through the noise and building that credibility. And you just, you want your brand to be really recognizable. We may not all get quite as far as like Coke, but you want, I think, we all know what a Coke commercial looks like, feels like. We know they invoke that nostalgia and the sounds, and you want that for your brand too. You want your brand to really have that like strong visual and interactive feel to it. And events really are just so great for that. And then, with distinctive assets, what I love about them is that once you've created one, they start to kind of really stack onto each other. So now you've got, this great webinar program, you've been providing webinars, creating all this great value. Well, now maybe it's time for a book. And you've already got half this content already kind of done, right? And now you just need to put it into a book format. Now maybe you take your book and you create a community around using the book. And, it's once you get going, there's just so many unique and innovative marketing opportunities. And that's what I love, is finding the fun ones, the ones that nobody's thought of yet, and the ones that really set the brand apart. That's where I get like jazzed up and nerdy about like, ooh, nobody's doing that. Let's do that. That sounds fun.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's what everybody wants.
Yes.
It's so hard to stand out, right?
It is. It is.
So who is your ideal client? We were talking earlier about us, and it can't be pinpointed to the typical 30-year-old yoga instructor, but who give us an idea.
So my messaging is that there's an event for every business. So I will say, we don't really focus too specifically on any one, type of market or anything like that. I personally see a lot of value for event programs for businesses where they have a strong leader within the business that really wants to elevate themselves within that business as a face for that business. So when you think about Apple and Tim Cook or things like that, like you want to think about businesses that have, that great impactful CEO or well-spoken president, or, those types of people, or even, sometimes it's just employees that they speak the brand and they're great at it. And so creating events where they can be on camera, be on the stage, be in front of their customers, it not only drives awareness of the business and the brand, which is great, but it drives awareness to that person within your brand, which is a big, big part of your brand as well. And, your people are everything. And at the end of the day, people generally do business with people, not with businesses. And if you're putting that person out there that they're feeling connected to on the stage or on a webinar, that can be, the difference between converting and not converting. And so I think there's so much opportunity for businesses that have that like strong person behind the brand. But I think there truly is something for everybody in the event marketing spectrum.
Yeah, as you're talking, I'm thinking, oh, Jason Miller, our CEO.
Exactly.
For this. You're speaking right to me here.
Yes.
So, amazing. Yeah. Sure, you two will be chatting.
Yeah.
No, it's just incredible. But all the pieces that you have, all the moving parts, putting them together in your business. So, oh my goodness. How many are on your team? Do you have it?
So we're pretty small right now. We're about 3 people kind of.
Oh, good.
On a consistent basis. And then depending on, some of the events that we produce and where they are, sometimes I've been in this industry for many years. And so sometimes I pull in people that I trust if it's very far or international or something, and the travel may not make sense if it's a smaller event. So I've got a few sort of contractors as well, but we're pretty much a team of 3. Yeah.
Wonderful. No, we love the small business, and it just shows how much you're involved.
Yes.
You're very knowledgeable, and love that you seem to be right in there and and helping everybody. Love it, Jenna. Excited. Excited to to learn more behind the scenes as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. So tell us about your program. That too, it just is unbelievable. So
we're talking about breaking corporate, right?
Yes.
Is that what we're talking about? Okay, perfect. Yep. Sorry, I've got one more in development, and I was like, shoot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
About that. Yep. So breaking corporate. So as you've already talked about, I have 4-year-old twins, and I'm a single mom to those 4-year-old twins. And something that is really important to me and impactful for me is helping moms and women in general find the pathway to business ownership or starting a business. I think sometimes it can feel very overwhelming. You're not sure where to start. It feels like, oh my gosh, do I need a web designer and a marketing person? And I need business cards and a logo. And there's so many things that I think sometimes people get overwhelmed. And I also think there's a narrative that you have to have a lot of money to start a business, or that you have to do it full time. You have to quit your job. And so where Breaking Corporate comes in is it's a 12-week program, and we do it in very small groups. So 4 to 5 women generally at one time. And the reason behind that is I want to form a little bit of like a cohort for them. And so I'm specific about kind of trying to match people too that are interested in different areas to start their business, so that as they grow, they can kind of lean on each other, like, oh, hey, I know you do this. Can you? So they build their own little lead funnel network between each other, which is great. And it's somebody that's in the same stage as you, but does something slightly different. So I always think you learn better from like hearing different walks of life, different pathways. So I don't want 5 women that all want to be marketing executives. Nothing wrong with that. But then we're really niching down a little too far there. So the goal of it is to really start, week 1, day 1 with, okay, here are the very first things you need to talk about and think about. And we go, through one big piece of the puzzle every 12 weeks or every week of the 12 weeks. And it's meant as like a coaching informational session so that you can basically DIY it, so that you can kind of still, we give a lot of support and direction. But the idea is that you could, throughout this 12 weeks, do this all yourself. Or if you're like, that's great, I know I need a logo, I don't want to try to do that, then we're happy to, step in and do the implementation as well. So it's kind of a one-stop shop, but I also want it to be, for the mom or the woman that just has no marketing budget to start off with, is going to do this in the evenings after a kid's in bed type of thing. I want to make it accessible for everyone. So it's a very low-cost program, just to really, start women out in business, and get them, going. And then after those 3 months, it's like, now you've got a fully launched business. You've got all the assets that you need to go and launch. And then ultimately we hope to, support their marketing and branding efforts from there. But, if not, I hope that they spread their wings and fly and, make great businesses. So the one statistic that I always lean on is, in the United States, only 4% of private sector spending goes to women-owned businesses. And that is a terribly low number. And there are tons of women-owned businesses, but a lot of that spending tends to go towards, the big guys out there, like the tech companies and things like that, which are more often male founded. And then on the flip side, you've got female founded businesses, which more often tend to be things like in health, wellness, so lower ticket items generally. And so that really contributes to that big spend differential. So I want to encourage women to get out there and start businesses that make that big impact. And don't just think that just because you're a mom, you have to do just like a small coaching business. Like, think outside the box. We can do so much more. So I really love that program. We run it usually about 4 times a year. And it's just a way for me to kind of, give back what I learned through the process and doing it myself, and hopefully cutting down some of that like time and energy and research and the hundreds and hundreds of hours of podcasts that I listen to, and really streamline it so that it's not so overwhelming. I think a lot of people get stuck with I don't even know where to start, I don't have the money to start, and don't let those be your reasons. Like those are workarounds for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nice too to have the accountability, with your program and to
Yes.
have the mentorship. So along the way, because, sometimes even if it is easy, you just need that little push, or you need, they have
Absolutely.
a question, or you start questioning yourself
Yes.
on different things. I know I would wonder, I would name a lot of things, and now that's actually what I do for a lot of clients. Is their logo, not logos, their taglines.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, because it just kind of pops into my head. But prior to that, I felt like I needed I would love to run this by somebody, or what do you think of
Right.
that?
Yeah, exactly.
Just as simple as that. But it's so nice to have that, the camaraderie and like you said, they're not in the same niche, so they're similar, so you can still get your questions answered. And then even more so, with it being similar yet not the same, they can certainly collaborate and, interview each other, get into each other's groups, and kind of crisscross applesauce your email list.
That's what I love, right? You've got this group, and now it's like trade guest blog posts, trade podcast appearances, work with each other to build each other up. And that's a huge part of like who I'm always like next woman up. Like the minute I learn something, like let me teach it to somebody else, and I will go learn something else and just keep pulling them up that way. So I love that.
Save them the headache, right?
Yes.
Do as I say, not as I do, at least along the way, right?
That's true. That's true.
Gosh. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm sure, I'd like to know where we can reach out to you. Everybody can reach out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is maverick-events.com. And then I'm pretty active on Instagram, primarily as our main social platform. And that is at Maverick Events Consulting, all one word.
Great. Awesome. And I always ask this question last. Is there a book that you could recommend that you loved for our audience, that you've read that, it doesn't have to be a business book, but just something you love?
I am a really big fan of Profit First. And it's one of the models that we actually teach in Breaking Corporate, is specifically that the way that we make this work is that you have to take your profit first. You've got to pay yourself. You've got to make this worthwhile so that you can do it. I hate when I hear people saying, I haven't given myself $1 in 3 years of my business. It's like something isn't working. If you can't take some profit and then pay the bills, there's an issue there. We've got to go back and figure out what that issue is. And so I strongly recommend Profit First to anybody that hasn't read it, because it'll really change your mindset around money in, money out, and making sure that there is a reason there to keep going for you. And then on the back end, then we deal with, the bills and, if we need to reduce those or whatever. So that's something that we talk a lot about in Breaking Corporate. I always notice that kind of being like the light bulb moment for women too, where they cross that path between like, how am I going to do this and make it work versus, oh, that's exactly how I'm going to do it and make it work. So I strongly recommend that book to everyone.
Yes, I have read it, and you're right. And the financial piece, of course, is first of all, why we're doing this for the most part, right?
Absolutely.
We have our passions, but
absolutely
we can't do that. Would be called volunteering if we did it for free. So so definitely, educating on the financial piece of it is huge, and you don't see a lot of that. You really don't.
You don't. I don't. And I honestly, it seems like once you read the book, it seems like such a simple concept, and it's like, why isn't that the first thing that most people assume to do? But it's not. Like, it is kind of a totally different way of thinking about it. And you're right, there's not enough financial education out there around starting a business, how to get through it. It's finding lending and funding. That's another thing we do in Breaking Corporate too, is walk them through ways to acquire funding and things like that. Amazing. That's a really complicated process as well. And so that's another piece that I've tried to kind of whittle down into like, here are your 3 best paths, and here's, kind of some actionable steps. So just trying to streamline the whole process.
Yeah, your program sounds absolutely incredible. So
thank you.
I think we need to talk about an affiliate link. No.
Okay.
Kind of no, I would love to. It really does. Yeah. It sounds perfect for women that want to launch a business. So.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you, Jenna. It was a pleasure, and I hope you will come back again.
I would love to.
Yeah, great. To listen on everything that's going on. So, all righty, we'll talk soon. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Authentic Experts with Kara James. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and we'll see you on the next episode.